All right, welcome back. This is where it gets fun. Now, enough of that mess. Enough of what's wrong, right? What's wrong is only good so that we can solve the problem and, like the quote says, make it obsolete. Here comes Bitcoin. October 31st, 2008. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever that might be, all of a sudden says, hey, I got this solution. Out of nowhere. What is this? I think it was January 2009. The first actual transaction happened. That's the pizza story, right? You've probably heard that story. I think somebody bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. That's back when it was only valued at a penny or so or whatever. But wouldn't it be nice to have that, right? Because now it's valued at, I think today, well, it's dropped a little bit from about $12,000. It's dropped back down to about $10,000. But why does it have that value? Because of the supply and demand. If enough people agree that that has value, that's all we need is a general consensus. So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a system of money that is not controlled by a central authority. It is a peer-to-peer version of electronic cash. And because of blockchain technology, I can send you money. Well, it depends on how full the network is, but I can send you money within minutes. The SWIFT technology that banks use was created in the 1950s. That's kind of like chemotherapy. It was created back in 1960s. Somehow we're still using those technologies today. That SWIFT technology that the banks use to send money internationally, and I think it's the international remittance, it's called, sending money internationally, is like, I think it totals 180 trillion, there's that word again, $1 trillion annually. And I think there's a cost associated with it somewhere in the trillions as well. But that's a very large industry, is sending money internationally. Using the traditional SWIFT system of the current banking system, 5 to 7 business days, if you're lucky, and fees are high. You know, it's 30, 40%, somewhere along the way, right? Especially if you're going to some oddball country. Blockchain technology, Bitcoin, nope, within minutes, depending on how full the network is. There's a few technologies that are out there that literally take seconds. Litecoin, Dash, Ripple. I don't really like talking about Ripple. They're a great project, but they're centralized. They're not decentralized. And so they're under a single authority, and they're operating with the current banking system. So they're not my favorite project. They don't really get into the spirit of Bitcoin as I see it. Here's the other cool thing about Bitcoin, is since it's not controlled by any central authority, 1/3 of the population on this planet is unbanked, meaning they don't have access to financial services. They don't have access to credit or loans or payment processes or savings accounts, not that they would need them. They don't have access to any of that. I read a story the other day that there was some kid, I think over in Kenya, bought a pair of shoes with Bitcoin on the internet from his mobile phone. That's the power of blockchain technology. That's the power of Bitcoin. All of a sudden everyone has access to it now. 1/3 of the population, 2.5 to 3 billion people on the planet, don't have access to financial services. This levels the playing game. The playing field. This levels all of it. And it's absolutely amazing. For most of us living in a first world country, Bitcoin is like, great, yay, hey, let's go play with some Bitcoin, let's change the world, great. It's a real deal for most of the world. What is it, was 1/3? No, it's less than that. What is it, less than 2% of the world's population? Sorry, you're going to have to edit this part out right here, so I'm hoping you're watching the video. Yeah, We'll just skip that. Oh, no, here's it is. Okay, start here. 98% of the world's population lives on less than $2 a day, right? Go figure that. That's a massive idea. Less than $2 a day. We're very privileged in our society. But this is a game changer because this shifts wealth away from the centralization and shifts it over into everyone's hands, back to freedom and responsibility. Number 2, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a global decentralized network, just like the internet. It's a software system. It's a digital code, a program, an application that you plug into over here, and you're on the system. Boom, and you're running. And then anyone else on that system you can connect with. Bitcoin's transactions require consensus. So let's look at this. Let's say that this is my network, right? And then this goes to each one, and we end up having a whole system here, right? I'm not going to continue, but all of these connect to each other. And in the middle, we have our ledger. I'll explain that in a minute. But this is what's meant by all the transactions on the Bitcoin network. They have to go through this ledger. This is the master ledger. So person A over here, they send a transaction over here to person B. Well, it has to get approved, debited and credited on this ledger. And then when that happens, it has to go check, 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 check. Okay, everybody agrees that this transaction is valid, that it doesn't interfere with the system, that everything's on the up and up, transaction approved. That's called consensus. Now, the Bitcoin network is millions, I don't know the actual number, but millions of computers. And so all of these computers must agree that the transaction fits in the ledger and that the transaction is approved, boom, done deal. Now, the tech behind all of this is way over my head. I understand enough of it for my own, but we're not going to get into that right now. That's way down the line. This is Bitcoin 101. That's Bitcoin like 301, right? There's a guy on the internet named Andreas Antonopoulos. He's got a wonderful YouTube channel. He's pretty well considered one of the foremost authorities on Bitcoin. He's an amazing guy. Look him up. He'll explain a lot of this. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin has a limited supply. Excuse me, I dropped my top. Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million coins. So within this network, all the transactions, all the pieces in the code that are of value, there's only 21 million of them. It's scarce, and that allows the value to be secure or increase or decrease. Rather than the Federal Reserve, they just print money anytime they want it, right? What is Bitcoin? It's peer-to-peer remittance. I think we've covered that well. Bitcoin is immutable, meaning once this transaction's been approved, can't be changed. No one can sneak in and hack in and say, hey, and change it and steal money or steal data. Nothing. It's divisible. Bitcoin is equally divisible, just like our dollar is divisible into pennies. Bitcoin is divisible into what they call satoshis, in honor of Satoshi Nakamoto, down to 8 decimal places. So you could buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. And I think, in fact, on one of my test wallets, I have $11 worth of Bitcoin right now. Right? So you can do that. Here's what makes this immutable to where it can't be changed. This gets into the cryptography that we talked about. Right around here, is the cryptography. This is what has not been hacked. Since its launch in 2009, this thing has been available to the world. And since 2009, I think in January 2009, you better believe that hackers have been at it. Or excuse me, crackers, I think is the proper term. Crackers have been at it. Because it's money. It's a system of money. They've been after it. To date, no one has touched it. And in fact, if you hear some of the testimonials of people that have attempted to crack it, they say it's like nothing they've ever seen. It adapts to whoever comes at it, however they come at it, it adapts. So, you can't touch it. That's the cryptography in it. And the way, what little bit I know about the code is within the code, there is permission to change this ledger. However, changing that ledger is nearly impossible simply on mathematics. Not human principles or laws or anything like pure mathematical laws. Makes it very, very difficult. This, because it is so secure, it is public and it's transparent. This this ledger right here, this blockchain, as it's called, anyone can go look at it. Right now, you can send a transaction, you can take that address, and you can go look it up on the blockchain, and you can see if it's been approved or not. You can see what other address it went to, just like your email. Your email is an address. Every transaction you send with Bitcoin, it's an address. It gets sent. It's transparent. Anyone can see what's in here, but no one can change it. All of a sudden, the game has changed, and I love it. So, it's also pseudonymous, meaning, let's say you wrote a book under a pen name. That's pseudonymous. I think I said it wrong a minute ago. Pseudonymous. It's a weird word. But basically, it's kind of like your email. Your email probably doesn't have your real name on it, but it comes to an account with your real name. So you would have to prove that you use the account, right? That's pseudonymous. And it's censorship resistant, meaning no one can stop it. No one can say that it can or can't be spent in this way, that the network can't be used in this way. The network is what it is. Now imagine this, if you will. The government comes along and they say, hey, we don't like this Bitcoin thing. We want it shut down. Guess what? The way the code was written, it can't be shut down. Okay. Well, I want the information of all the people that are using the Bitcoin network. It doesn't collect that information. Okay. Well, I want to know who's running this ship. I want to talk. Somebody's going to jail. Nobody's running it. It's open source. It's decentralized. It's an open network. Excuse me. Decentralized. So nobody's running it. Not collecting any information. Right? So, and it can't be stopped. It's software that's running. The only thing that can be done is it can be updated, which there's some little updates to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first. There's some solutions that have come along that have improved on Bitcoin. But that doesn't mean you have to accept the update, right? It's code, it's software, it's your laptop, and that's why it can be trusted, because the laws of mathematics, they're absolute. It's amazing. Just to finish up real quick, what I want you to know is, what is a blockchain? A blockchain is a data system that allows for the creation of a digital ledger of transactions on a decentralized network. Using cryptography, that's the security around it, users engage with the ledger without the need for any central figurehead. In layman's terms, this means that people and computers work together to create a network instead of a network being made by one single person or actually one single entity. The blockchain, this ledger, is comprised of blocks, lines in the ledger, just think of it like that, and it's constantly growing as each new record is added to the chain for everyone to see. So the banks that we go to, they have a ledger where they keep track of everyone's accounts. This is a public ledger that is so secure, no one can mess with it. And it's decentralized, it's available to anyone, and it's immutable, there's no chargebacks. The whole system. I mean, tell me a better solution. Tell me a better solution. And so when people talk about Bitcoin, Bitcoin itself is designed to be a currency. But I want you to understand the technology behind Bitcoin. If you choose to invest in it, that's what you're investing in. Because all of the projects that have launched from the blockchain technology, that's the game changer. And all of these other projects are disrupting like crazy. Those are called altcoins, alternative coins. We're going to get into that in the next video, so I'll see you in a minute.